How does a man go from being the son of a factory worker in Iowa to one of the most powerful figures in global sports? Leave your like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any updates. This is the story of Mark Walter, the quiet billionaire behind a deal that's shaking up the NBA. A $10 billion acquisition of a controlling stake in the Los Angeles Lakers. Yes, $10 billion. Walter, who already owns a piece of the Lakers and the Dodgers, is making a historic move that could redefine sports ownership, not just in America, but worldwide. To understand the size of this deal, let's put it into perspective. For $10 billion, you could buy Skechers, a massive global shoe brand with $9 billion in yearly sales, 5,300 stores, and 20,000 employees. But Mark Walter chose something different. He chose the Lakers, a franchise that generates $500 million a year, employs just 1,000 people, and sells far more dreams than products. This deal, if completed, would shatter all previous records for professional sports team valuations, including the $6.1 billion sale of the Boston Celtics earlier this year. And yet, unlike past deals that triggered doubt and criticism, this one is being met with something unusual: acceptance. $10 billion sounds about right, said ESPN's Pat McAfee. The Lakers brand was never going to be cheap. But who is Mark Walter? He's not your typical flashy billionaire. Born in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, Walter worked his way up, first as a banker, then as an investor. In 1996, he founded Liberty Hampshire, which later merged with the family office of the Guggenheim dynasty, creating what we know today as Guggenheim Partners, a global financial services firm managing over $345 billion in assets. Walter currently has a personal fortune estimated at $12.5 billion, according to the Bloomberg Billionaires Index. His first major move in sports came in 2012, when he led a group that bought the Los Angeles Dodgers for $2.15 billion, a price that seemed outrageous at the time. Many thought he had overpaid. Even Lakers legend Magic Johnson, who was part of the ownership group, had his doubts. But that deal turned out to be a masterpiece. Just over a decade later, the Dodgers are worth nearly $8 billion, and they've won multiple National League championships and 2 World Series titles under Walter's leadership. Now, Walter is doing it again, this time with the Lakers. He already owns around 20% of the team, thanks to a 2021 deal based on a $5 billion valuation. But with this new agreement, he's aiming for majority control, which would require him to invest at least $3 billion more. Jeanie, the current president, is expected to stay in her role for now. But NBA rules state that to hold that position, an owner must control at least 15% of the franchise. If Walter completes this deal, he'll meet that requirement, and possibly more. So what's behind his obsession with the Lakers? Some say it's legacy. Some say it's strategy. Others say it's all part of building the most powerful sports empire the world has ever seen. And that may not be an exaggeration. Walter already co-owns Chelsea FC in the Premier League, the Los Angeles Sparks of the WNBA, and the Dodgers. He's also investing heavily in motorsports, including the new Cadillac Formula One team, in partnership with TWG Global and Abu Dhabi's Mubadala Capital, which recently backed Walter with a $10 billion investment. Through TWG Motorsports, Walter has stakes in IndyCar's Andretti Global, NASCAR's Spire Motorsports, endurance racing's Wayne Taylor Racing, and Australia's Walkinshaw Andretti United. That's right. Baseball, basketball, soccer, women's sports, Formula One, NASCAR. International holdings from London to Melbourne. And yet, Walter isn't done. He's teamed up with fellow investor Todd Boehly, another former Guggenheim executive, to co-own multiple franchises, including the Lakers, Dodgers, and Chelsea. Their goal? To build the most influential, interconnected sports platform on the planet. In Walter's own words, during a rare public appearance, "I told Shohei Ohtani, I felt like we had failed. That despite all our success, we had to do better." That drive is what led Ohtani, the most expensive athlete in history, to sign a $700 million deal with the Dodgers. Not just for the money, but for the vision. Walter doesn't just want trophies. He wants dominance. And he's willing to spend to get it. His business model is also deeply tied to media rights, and he knows it. Just 1 year after purchasing the Dodgers, Walter negotiated a $8.3 billion, 25-year TV deal with Time Warner Cable. That money allowed him to rebuild the team from the ground up. The Lakers did something similar. In 2011, they signed a $3 billion broadcast deal, 20 years of guaranteed income, which helped fund their operations. Now, with the NBA's new $77 billion media deal set to begin in late 2025, Walter sees an even bigger opportunity. Owning both the Dodgers and Lakers gives him unmatched leverage in the second-largest media market in the U.S. Imagine a future where fans can stream Dodgers and Lakers games through a single subscription, bundled together in a new media platform owned by Walter's companies. That's the vision. But this isn't just business. Walter is a competitor. Fierce, intense, and demanding. "Mark wants to win more than anything," said Magic Johnson. "You don't want to be sitting next to him during a baseball game when someone strikes out. He loses it." And now, he's setting his sights on reviving the Lakers, a team with championship DNA, but financial struggles in recent years. In 2021, the Lakers couldn't keep Alex Caruso because of money. In 2019, they failed to hire Tyronn Lue over contract disagreements. That's the kind of thing Walter is ready to fix. With access to deep capital, through Guggenheim, TWG Global, and partners like Mubadala, he can bring financial power back to the Lakers brand. Because this isn't just about restoring a basketball team. It's about building an empire that could change the very nature of sports, where one man, quietly and methodically, is buying influence across continents, leagues, and screens. Mark Walter isn't just writing checks. He's rewriting the game. And the world of sports may never be the same. For the first time in over 4 decades, the Los Angeles Lakers are no longer owned by the Buss family. Let that sink in. Since 1979, the Buss name has been synonymous with Lakers basketball. With championships. With legends. With showtime. But now, that legacy takes a turn. Because Mark Walter, billionaire investor and owner of the Dodgers and Chelsea FC, has stepped in as the new controlling owner of the Lakers. Jeanie Buss, the woman who's led the team since her father's passing in 2013, will remain with the organization as governor. But the power has shifted. The Buss era, in many ways, has come to an end. And with that, it's time to look back, not just at what was achieved, but at what could have been. Jeanie Buss took on one of the most pressure-filled roles in all of sports, following in the footsteps of a legend. Her father, Dr. Jerry Buss, was one of the greatest owners in NBA history. He built dynasties. He changed the game. He created a culture that was as Hollywood as it was competitive. Jeanie inherited that weight. And from the very beginning, it was clear, this would not be easy. Her tenure started during the twilight of Kobe Bryant's career. A living icon, but surrounded by rosters that simply couldn't compete. The team struggled. And for a franchise that defines itself by winning, those losing seasons were a bitter pill to swallow. Still, Jeanie held on. She made bold moves. She stood firm during front office drama, coaching changes, and years of rebuilding. Then, in 2018, she pulled off one of the most important signings in modern Lakers history, LeBron James. The King came to LA, and the team's championship window opened once again. Soon after, the roster was upgraded. Big names joined. Trades were made. Hopes rose. And in 2020, in the middle of a global pandemic, the Lakers climbed back to the top, winning their 17th NBA title in the Orlando bubble. It was a triumph. A validation. Jeanie Buss became the first female controlling owner to win an NBA championship. It was historic. But for many fans, it wasn't enough. Because when you wear purple and gold, one ring doesn't satisfy. Not when you have LeBron James. Not when you sign elite players like Luka Doncic. Not when you're the Lakers. Fans wanted more. They expected another dynasty. But instead, they got inconsistency. Injuries. Questionable roster construction. Coaching turnover. And missed opportunities. Meanwhile, the front office, under Jeanie's leadership, was criticized for being behind the times. Other teams were building elite analytics departments, investing in scouting, player development, advanced medical staff, while the Lakers lagged. The training facilities needed improvement. Resources around the players weren't at the level expected of a billion-dollar franchise. And that became the story for many fans. Yes, the Lakers still spent money on stars, but they didn't always invest in the infrastructure behind them. Even contract negotiations raised eyebrows. In 2021, they let fan favorite Alex Caruso walk, reportedly over a small financial gap. In 2019, they failed to hire Tyronn Lue, a proven championship coach, due to disagreements over salary and contract length. Moves like that stuck with fans. Because the Lakers aren't just any team. They are expected to dominate, not just on the court, but in every detail of the organization. And yet, amidst all the frustration, Jeanie Buss still delivered something that cannot be erased, a title. When so many other franchises with superstar talent have come up short, she got the job done. That matters. She led during one of the most challenging periods in league history, through the loss of Kobe Bryant, through the pandemic, through years of internal drama, and still, she stood tall. But time catches up with every era. And now, Mark Walter is stepping in, a man with deep pockets, a modern vision, and a proven track record of building high-value sports empires. With the Dodgers, he's already reshaped a franchise. Now, he sets his sights on the Lakers. Fans are hoping this marks the beginning of a new, more aggressive chapter, one where no expense is spared, and every department is elite. Jeanie Buss will remain in the room. She's still part of the fabric of this franchise. But the baton has been passed. And her legacy, it's complex. It's layered. It's human. She didn't win 5 titles like her father. She didn't build a dynasty. But she led the team through fire, through loss, through chaos, and still managed to raise a banner. That matters. Now, Lakers Nation looks forward to a future filled with high expectations, ambitious plans, and the hope of sustained dominance. Because in LA, one thing never changes, the pressure to win is always there. And the legacy of Jeanie Buss? It's one of strength, one of perseverance, and one that will forever be tied to the soul of the Los Angeles Lakers. The Los Angeles Lakers are on the move. And this time, it's big. After one of the most talked about trades in recent memory, acquiring none other than Luka Doncic, the Lakers are now on a mission. A mission to complete the next critical piece of their roster puzzle. And that piece? A center. But not just any center. We're talking about a young, athletic, shot-blocking, rim-running big who can anchor the defense and elevate the pick-and-roll game with Doncic. And right now, all signs point to one name, Walker Kessler of the Utah Jazz. According to Andy Larson of the Salt Lake Tribune, the Lakers have already made a formal trade offer for Kessler. That's right. Rob Pelinka and the Lakers front office aren't just interested. They've already made their move. Larson revealed on the Locked On Jazz podcast that the Jazz are holding a real offer in hand. But here's the twist, it hasn't been accepted. Not yet. I think there's been an offer presented for Walker Kessler. And the Lakers have shown serious interest, all the way back to the trade deadline. That interest continues now. Multiple picks are being discussed, and the Lakers clearly view him as their center of the future, Larson said. Let that sink in. The Lakers are willing to give up multiple draft picks to make this happen. That alone tells you just how serious they are. And the timing? Absolutely critical. Because after trading away their only starting caliber center to get Luka Doncic, the Lakers are now thin at one of the most important positions on the court. Sure, there are names floating around the market, guys like Charlotte's Mark Williams and Brooklyn's Nick Claxton. Even some veteran bigs in free agency. But those aren't the targets Rob Pelinka is chasing. He wants youth, upside, defense, energy. He wants a long-term solution who fits the modern NBA and complements Luka's game. Someone who doesn't just plug a hole, but becomes a pillar for the next era of Lakers basketball. That's why Walker Kessler is at the top of the list. At just 22 years old, Kessler has already made a name for himself as one of the most promising young shot blockers in the league. He's mobile, efficient around the rim, and brings the kind of physical presence that could completely change the Lakers' interior defense. Pair that with Luka Doncic's elite vision, and the pick-and-roll possibilities are endless. But now comes the hard part, dealing with the Jazz. Because running the show in Utah is none other than Danny Ainge, and if there's one thing NBA fans know about Ainge, it's this. He doesn't hand out favors. And he especially doesn't do them for the Lakers. The tension between Ainge and LA has been well documented. Throughout his time in Boston and now in Utah, Ainge has made it clear, if you want a deal, you'd better come with something big. And that's exactly what the Lakers are preparing to do. They still have assets. They control one future first-round pick. They hold valuable pick swaps. And they've got several mid-sized contracts in the $10 to $20 million range, essential under the NBA's new CBA, which places tighter rules on matching salaries in trades. The question is, will that be enough? The Jazz could be playing hardball. They might be waiting for other teams to bid. Or they may be planning something bigger, a salary-clearing move, a free agent splash, that would make moving Kessler more appealing. For now, no deal is done. But the Lakers' intentions are clear. After years of inconsistent roster building and missed opportunities, Rob Pelinka is no longer being cautious. He's going all in, not just to win now, but to build a foundation around Luka Doncic for the long haul. This isn't about chasing the 8th seed. This is about chasing banners. And to do that, they need a center who fits perfectly with Luka's style. Someone who can defend the rim, set hard screens, crash the glass, and play 30-plus minutes a night without breaking down. That's Walker Kessler. And the Lakers are doing everything they can to bring him to Los Angeles. Still, until Danny Ainge picks up the phone and says, yes, everything hangs in the balance. So here we are, deep into the off-season, with the Lakers already making blockbuster headlines, and possibly preparing for another. One thing is certain. Rob Pelinka isn't done. Luka Doncic isn't here to waste time. And the Lakers? They're ready to win now. The question is, will Walker Kessler be wearing purple and gold next season? Stay tuned. Because in LA, things move fast. And the next bombshell could drop any moment.